Hey again, guys. So I'm watching this video. I triggered somebody, and they did a video about me. So I wanted to watch it and do a response. And I mean, this is respectful. Everybody has a right to their own opinion. It's funny sometimes when I trigger somebody. I mean, I don't know why. But anyway, let's go. This is entitled WTH Mangini something or other. Let's see what he has to say.
Hey everybody, Jonathan, Las Vegas Collectibles. I'm almost home now, so I'm going to make this video. John Mangini put out a video earlier called "The Sports Card Market Will Rebound." It's been about 3.5 hours since I saw the video, listened to the video, I should say, on the radio. So I've had time to kind of gather my thoughts and kind of calm down. So I had an emotional reaction. I had this reaction of, what the hell? It's anger, reaction. I was sad, I was mad, I was frustrated. And
Let me just stop it at this point. Man, normally I had to date a woman to get this kind of reaction.
a person that has emotional reactions. It's very hard for me to actually get to a point in which I have a reaction. And I believe that I got to this point with this video from John Mangini because it's been building up for a long time. So I've been selling collectibles for about a year, a little bit over a year. I've been buying collectibles my whole life, type of thing, right? And so I constantly see people, hear people, talk to people that make decisions that impact their family.
So he's been selling collectibles for a little over a year, which means he jumped on the bandwagon. Probably not doing so well right now. Maybe he's just targeting his anger toward me.
By purchasing items, taking the opportunity to put food in their family's mouth, type of thing. They're spending all this money on collectibles. And they're spending it with the idea, with the thesis, the premise, whatever you want to call it, that them spending money on a comic book, on a sports card, whatever it might be, will provide them more money in the future. They don't even know how much. They might not have the financial education to really kind of put that together and make a plan. And so people in the collectible worlds, meaning comic books, coins, watches, sports cards, whatever, each individual world, there are so many people that try to take advantage of uneducated individuals. Just like
I agree with that.
in the financial world, in the car selling business, in the home selling business, there are people that unfortunately try to take advantage of it because they have more information than those that they're selling to. And so over the last year of me selling, unfortunately I've been exposed to this element in the collectible world, and it bugs me. And so seeing his video, I think, was that straw that broke the camel's back, and it just made me want to say something.
Now, he's been selling for a year, and he's frustrated about it, and seeing my video has triggered him, which I don't really understand because I don't sell. I don't tell anybody what to buy. I give no advice along those lines. But let's see what he has to say.
So I'm gonna try to cut this off. I'm gonna be short and sweet about it. Look, John Mangini, I don't know you. I don't have anything bad to say about you, really. I don't know you. You could be an amazing human being. I mean, you seem like you're educated. You seem like you know what you're talking about to a point. So
To a
that also
point,
makes me
I
wonder if
don't.
you're doing it on purpose. What you're saying. So that's kind of sad. So I don't know if I'm the first person that's ever said this to you. Your collectible, whatever it is, comics, coins, action figures, okay. It is not comparable to the stock market. The stock market and your niche, hyper-focused little collectible world are not comparable. They're not. And I don't know if I'm the first person on YouTube to say that or not. I hope I'm not. But I might be the first person you've ever heard make that comment. And you need to know that just because a person, any person, puts the word market at the end of something does not mean it is automatically comparable to the stock market.
Agreed.
They might sound fancy because they do it, but it doesn't mean they know what the hell they're talking about.
Agreed.
I go to a farmer's market. I don't know, maybe you've been to a farmer's market.
Farmer's market?
Do you think it would be a good decision before you go to a farmer's market to draw historical comparisons from the stock market to make decisions at a farmer's market? Maybe you do. You know it's America, don't you?
Wait, I got to stop it right there. That is the most ridiculous analogy I've ever heard. Did you ever see somebody pay $10.5 million for some applesauce, or so $42,000 for some cherry tomatoes, or maybe $1,000 for some farmer's cheese? Yeah, people pay $10 million for apple butter at a farmer's market. He's comparing farmer's market to card market, art market, coin market, stock market. Okay, now that is just absurd.
I don't think that's a good decision. The farmer's market is a place where you can buy and sell and trade goods. All different kind of variety of goods. It's actually more diverse than any of your collectible.
Yeah, I traded some cucumbers for some carrots.
You might have people selling candles and coffee and handmade rugs and healing crystals, along with the fruits and veggies and hoagies or whatever else. It's actually a more diverse marketplace than any sports card market will ever be. Any comic book market there'll ever be.
Okay.
Because it's multiple products. The stock market is not one product. It is not one item, one good, one commodity, whatever you want to call it. It is a conglomerate of goods? I don't know the right terminology. But there is an extremely large amount of diverse products and goods in the stock market. So, John Mangini made a comparison to the dot-com bubble and saying he draws a lot of similarities from that time period with the current time period we're in with collectibles. And John Mangini was talking about how those similarities, lead him to believe that the sports car market will rebound just like the stock market rebounded. They are not the same thing. The dot-com crash had to deal with businesses who were garbage, had no value add to anything. They just put .com at the end of a word and then sold stocks to it, even though they had no business, even though they were just complete garbage. And guess what? Those companies went bankrupt. All those people lost those money. A lot of people made money. All you had to do was come up with a business and put .com at the end of it, and the general public would just give you money. And then,
just like you could just put cards on eBay or buy cards, and they would go up too. And cards also have no intrinsic value, just like .com stocks. They were only worth what somebody was willing to pay for them. And yes, a lot of .com companies went out of business, but a lot of them got bought out. And a lot of them became some of the greatest companies that we know today. And the ones that went out of business are similar to like a lot of cards that will be worth nothing, right? Try to give a Johnny Manziel card away now. At one time, that was trading like it was a .com stock, right? It was trading on the idea that it might be worth something in the future. See, I don't say that cards are the same thing as stocks. I don't say that because the stock market has rebounded or will rebound that sports cards will. I'm drawing a comparison. And there are a lot of comparisons between the .com bubble and what happened with frothy prices, with people paying for something that had no intrinsic value, as we've seen with sports cards, and that's my only point. All markets, art market, anything that has value goes through fluctuations. It goes through ebb and flows. It goes through booms and busts. That's the only comparison here. Obviously, art or coins or stamps or sports cards are not the exact same as stocks. No kidding. Neither is Bitcoin. Neither is gold. You know, in the late 80s, early 90s, I followed gold. You couldn't give it away because gold, generally speaking, and throughout history, goes opposite the US dollar. And so we saw this big boom in gold. It's actually starting downward now with the US dollar getting stronger. Has nothing to do with cards. We're just comparing asset classes and how they behave, essentially. And the comparison with the .com is the frothiness, putting value on things that shouldn't have that value, right? And the crash that follows that.
Business went bankrupt. And you know what? After 20 years, the stock market rebounded after the .com crash. After 20 years, the stock market has grown to heights far beyond where it was.
I just want to add that .com stocks were not the only stocks that got hammered during that time. That was a major crash.
Before the .com crash. But you know what didn't rebound? All those bankrupt .com companies.
And you know what didn't rebound? The Johnny Manziels of the world. There are a lot of cards that are worth money. You pull, you get commons. People throw the commons away. Try to sell the commons. There are certainly cards that don't have value or that had value and now are bankrupt, just like Johnny Manziel cards and a lot of these rookies that we're paying a lot of money for now. That's the only comparison I'm drawing. He's actually making my point for me.
They're still bankrupt. They're still worth zero.
So is Johnny Manziel.
So if you wanted to draw a comparison between the sports card market and the .com era stock market, first of all, you can't do it. They're not comparable.
I just did it.
I hope I'm not the first person that's ever said that.
Why do you hope that?
But they're not. Now, if you wanted to compare the sports card market, which is really just a market that people use that term when they're really just talking about the value of sports cards. That's all that phrase means.
Right.
It's the value of sports cards, sealed wax, graded cards. It's the value of sports cards, a singular sector of items. I don't know why he wanted to compare it to the stock market other than to give this false illusion of credibility or justifying his thesis that the sports card market will rebound. If he wanted to draw a comparison to that time era, I think he chose a great example, the .com bubble.
Thank you.
The .com bubble, that individual market sector of the .com companies collapsed because everybody was putting money into things that had no value, and they were putting the money in there just because it said .com. That's
just like paying $242,000 for a Tatis Jr. rookie card.
very comparable to people in the sports card market putting tons of money into sports cards because it's a zebra parallel, because it's a leopard skin, because it's a refractor, because it's this, because it's a that.
Or buying a stock because it's a .com. Direct correlation here as an analogy.
They have no added value. There's a million fucking rookie cards from the last 2 years. Sorry for my language. It doesn't make any sense. But the .com comparison to the sports card market, I think, was actually a really good choice.
Does that just counteract what he just said? He just said it's a good choice. It sounds like we're in a little bit of agreement there.
He just unfortunately alluded to the stock market the whole time, which is not comparable. The .com companies that failed, that went bankrupt, this is 20 years later, they're still bankrupt. And guess what? 20 years from now, the cards that go to zero in the sports card market are still going to be at zero.
Just like .com stocks.
So that comparison, I think, is pretty good.
Yeah.
There are
Thank
some
you.
.com companies that survived, that thrived, that did amazing. They're worth tons of money now, way more than they ever were. And you know what? There's going to be some sports cards that in 20 years are going to be worth more money than they ever have been.
Isn't that what I said? Your 52 Mickey Mantle tops, they're going to retain their value.
They're not only going to rebound, they're going to grow, become even more valuable, just like with the .com businesses.
And I did say it will rebound over time. I never once said, in fact, I said a lot of these cards will probably never go back to the prices they were. And that's not what I meant. I'm not an investor. I'm not saying that we're going to go back to what we were. I'm saying over time, a lot of baseball cards, sports cards, the big items, the big collectibles are going to retain their value and grow. That's exactly what I said.
But the comparison of the sports card market to the stock market is just horrible. And providing
It's just horrible.
With false expectations and just false hope.
False expectations and false
it's
hope.
unfortunate because I believe the uneducated or the people lacking additional perspectives and information will unfortunately listen to that and continue this rhetoric of my sports card market is comparable to the stock market. The stock market is comparable to my coin collecting market. They're not comparable. They're not comparable.
That's the end. They are comparable in that all asset classes are comparable. All things worth money. Now, we collect cards. Cards have no tangible value. They are only worth what somebody is willing to pay. And that's the exact same with stocks. A stock can have a PE of 50, lose $1 billion a year, and sell for $200 a share. Another company can make $1 billion a year, have a PE of 5, and sell for $10 a share. It's only worth what someone is willing to pay. And quite honestly, it's just a piece of paper. Not nowadays. Nowadays, it's just a digital thing. Used to be a piece of paper, and that's all it is. When General Motors went bankrupt, all the people that owned their pieces of paper lost everything. Their bondholders lost everything. They turned around and issued an IPO for $35 and started a new stock. Your stock isn't anymore worth anything more, usually, than a different type of asset. If they can do that, just like any asset can lose its value. So there is more of a comparison here than he's letting on. And you have Bitcoin. That's not the same as stocks. Not the same. Like I said, gold, silver, they're all asset classes. They all fluctuate, but they all have kind of the same, they go through the same ebb and flow. They have the same booms and busts, as I've said. And there is some comparison to be drawn between any asset classes. And is the sports card market exactly the same as the stock market? Heck no. I never said it was. I'm just drawing a comparison between what I saw during the .com era with frothiness of over-exuberance, overpaying, paying for things that have no real value, to what's going on now. Scammers coming out of the woodwork during that time, like what's going on now. And there's a serious comparison to be made there. And you can draw your own conclusions. That's all. I wanted to do a response. I think this was fun. Hey, I thank you for, I thank you for watching. And sorry I got you wound up. I don't think it was that serious. But we can all debate respectfully. Thanks for watching.